afternoon and welcome to Salford Now. I'm Jessica Mason.
And I'm Adam Gooseman. Coming up on today's programme.
Rishi Sunak is our new Prime Minister, but what do people of Salford want from him?
He could do a little bit more for the working class people, I guess. He's like partying and that, and we're all struggling to pay our bills.
Postal workers have been striking for better pay and conditions.
But it's not just about pay, terms and conditions. It's about saving the postal service as everybody knows it.
Tea, pasta and oil, they are on the growing list of essential items that have gone up in price. But how is this affecting local businesses?
The veg oil that we use is probably tripled from what we were paying even through COVID.
First up, Rishi Sunak made his debut speech as Prime Minister today. We're here with our reporter, Lydia Horton, who has been keeping up to date with this evolving story. So, Lydia, what's the update?
Rishi Sunak pulled no punches in warning us there were difficult times ahead in his first speech as Prime Minister. He was formally appointed to the role this morning. He met with King Charles around 11:30 at Buckingham Palace, where he was invited to form a government. The PM then gave a Downing Street speech to the nation, which came just an hour after Liz Truss waved farewell to number 10. Mr Sunak warned of difficult decisions ahead, stating that he's been appointed to fix the mistakes of his predecessor.
So what do people in Salford think his first job should be?
Well, I went to ask the people just that question.
He could do a little bit more for the working class people, I guess. He's like partying and that, and we're all struggling to pay our bills.
He was trying to put less money for the universal credit people, wasn't he, for people that don't have money? But then he's living in a big lavish mansion and eating posh food whilst we're trying to feed our children.
Well, sorting his government out.
Get the economy sorted, to be honest.
I think he should sort of unite the party. There's a hell of a lot of MPs that are basically pulling in different directions, to be perfectly honest. I think that's his first job, what he should do.
Kind of the right people for the right posts to bring us up.
It's a bit funny that there's 3 Prime Ministers in the space of like a month, is all I'm saying.
God help us if Boris would have come back.
Still a Boris fan, but maybe not in politics.
Mr Sunak has made history as the first British Asian Prime Minister, which begs the question, what are Salford's British Asians saying about this?
Obviously more Asians step into more government roles because we need more diversity. As diverse people, we are always, like as Asians, I personally think that we're always complaining about not having enough diversity in the media and government and politics, stuff like that. But who's going to be the one to make that change? Who's going to be the one to make that leap?
Tomorrow, Mr Sunak will face his first Prime Minister's questions with Labour leader Sir Keir Starmer in the House of Commons. While as the new face in number 10, he'll be hoping for a boost in the polls. A YouGov survey today showed less than a quarter of people think he understands the challenges of everyday life. And in news that has literally just broken, James Cleverly stays as the Foreign Secretary, Dominic Raab is Deputy Prime Minister and Justice Secretary, and Jeremy Hunt will remain as Chancellor. And on that note, on that bombshell, back to you, Jess.
Thanks, Lydia. There's a call for more safe spaces for LGBTQ plus people in Salford. One organisation making this happen is Emmanuel Church.
Every Thursday morning, they run a coffee morning for the community to find support in each other. Katie Brown reports.
Kieran Cairns and Jake Lawson are one of many gay couples living in Salford. However, Kieran is one of many people part of the LGBTQ community who have experienced being the victim to hate crime.
2019, I was working in Spain, and it was just a random night out. Some man came up to me. I was head to toe in body glitter. Just came up to me and just literally just decked me. I had really bad depression and panic attacks for like ages afterwards. And even going out now, still a bit like around people.
Pete Sims is also part of the community and has created a regular coffee morning called A Cup Full of Pride. which acts as a supportive safe space for those part of the LGBTQ plus community.
There are lots of reasons why it's important within the city you live in for LGBT people to have a space where they can come, they can socialise, where they can be taken care of by their peers and feel that they are in a majority.
There's not a lot of LGBT spaces or groups or anything in Salford, is there?
No,
it's definitely all in the city centre.
Since I've moved, I've not seen
nothing.
anything. So I think rather than having to go into the city, somewhere a bit more local is a lot better for people.
The session is run every Thursday morning at the Emmanuel Church. They say it's just the start of something new to try and look after everyone in the Salford community.
A lot of our projects that run alongside this are focusing on self-isolation, which a lot of the LGBTQ plus communities still do feel and suffer, and that's something that we want to break. You know, there's nothing in Salford available for people of the LGBT community to go to and feel comfortable and, you know, welcome as themselves. So we want to be in that place.
There's still homophobia, there's still people who feel alone, and sometimes you need to just be able to go, I want to talk about a problem I've got, or I feel alone. Where do you go? You come and see us, we give you a cup of tea, we give you a slice of cake, and we'll listen.
Katie Brown, Salford Now.
Royal Mail staff have been taking part in strikes for better pay and work conditions.
Our reporter Thomas Ridley paid a visit to the Communication Workers Union members down at the picket line at Salford Delivery Office earlier today.
Another day, another set of Royal Mail strikes here at Salford Delivery Office. The Communications Workers Union and Royal Mail are still in dispute over pay and working conditions. We spoke to the CWU's Salford sub-rep, Chris McCardle.
So at the moment, they're on about changing our start times. We have a set pattern of working hours, which they want to do away with and introduce flexi hours, compulsory Sunday working, removing our full sick pay benefits. So that's all inclusive of our terms and conditions that they want to get rid of. Well, they've enforced a 2% pay rise on us by executive action. They offered us 5.5% pay rise, but we had to accept all the terms and conditions which I spoke to previously, which the union said no.
Chris was also worried about the future of the postal service as we know it, due to Royal Mail potentially selling off to a private company in Luxembourg.
It's about saving the postal service as everybody knows it, because in the next, what this guy who's in charge of it at the moment, Mr. Thompson, wants to do is basically sell this company off to a company in Luxembourg called Vasa. We're not forgiving him, but like I say, this is not just about us now. We've lost 7 days pay up to now to save the postal service for the British public as they know it, because it will disappear.
This is one of many strikes coming up over the next few weeks as Royal Mail prepare to take industrial action over one of their busiest periods of the year, and especially the Black Friday week. There will be several strikes on that week too. And here we have a statement from the company themselves on the strikes.
That was Thomas Ridley at the Royal Mail picket line earlier today.
Green space in Salford could be at risk. In a recent council meeting, 33 councillors voted against amending Salford's Greenbelt policy, meaning that Greenbelt land could be used for new building projects. Jessica Blackburn is here in the studio to tell us more. So Jess, what is the Greenbelt?
Thank you, Adam. So the Greenbelt was introduced in Salford in 1984, and essentially the Greenbelt is a space free of building, planning and development. However, the boundaries of the Greenbelt can be changed for things such as housing and employment. So if there is a need for more housing in an area, then the Greenbelt boundaries will change accordingly. And this is what is currently being debated in Salford City Council.
If we are serious, then we must be serious in our actions, not our words. We must only allow building on brownfield sites and not greenbelt land here in Salford. It is not fair that residents should take the brunt of the inconsistency of the council's climate and biodiversity strategy.
Matters relating to biodiversity have to be considered alongside the government's drive for councils up and down the country to take a plan-based approach to development, economic development, and all the great stuff we're trying to achieve on the environment agenda.
So we can see from that clip that there seems to be quite the debate in the council.
Yeah, so there are lots of Conservatives in Salford City Council that are very concerned about the greenbelt land, especially Adam Keeley, who you could see at the beginning of that clip. Salford City Mayor Paul Dennett says that the situation is currently being dealt with by a project called Places for Everyone, which essentially aims to try and increase the use of brownfield sites, and brownfield sites are areas that have already been used for planning and development. However, I spoke to Adam Keeley, who said that Places for Everyone is definitely not appropriate for anyone in Salford, that it's not good for the community, that there are already plenty of brownfield sites around Salford that can be used for new planning and development. And in his words, the council's promise of actually adding to the greenbelt is nothing but nonsense.
Thanks for that, Jess.
Most people of African or multiracial descent grow up with chemically treated hair and are not properly educated on natural treatments. Afrocentric C Group was created in Salford in order to teach women how to safely and properly manage their hair. Sophie Rumsby has more.
For decades, black beauty was epitomised by artists like the Supremes, but to achieve that look, people have had to endure painful and often dangerous chemical treatment to straighten their hair. But now groups like Afrocentrics aim to teach women how to naturally treat their hair and give them the confidence to not use extensions, wigs or chemical straighteners.
I love that I can basically embrace my natural hair and really walk in that journey and be myself basically and represent myself.
With the lack of education available to women with African or multiracial hair, groups like these are essential. They teach women to properly maintain and look after their natural hair.
Being Nigerian, growing up in Nigeria, obviously have very different experiences from people in the UK because everybody's black, so everybody knows how to take care of their hair. I see people that are not sure how to take care of their hair or what to do with their hair, and I think coming here as a teenager, I experienced that a bit when I was trying to actually get into the natural hair journey.
I think we saw the need. A lot of people would be asking, how do you grow your hair? How do you keep your hair healthy? And because of that huge need, we felt that there was a place to do this. And an idea, we shared it with the church leaders, and it grew from maybe 3 people thinking about it to we've had over like 50 people attend today.
More and more women are now embracing their natural hair, and it is proving to have a lot of benefits.
It's freedom given, really, I think. I don't have to worry about wetting my hair because, you know, if it goes curly, it's naturally curly anyway. I don't have to worry about the cost of it because it's quite expensive to process your hair. And I can put natural products in my hair, which is what I do. So it's all natural, and I'm in control. I think that's the main thing, I'm in control of my hair.
But it seems to be taking the rest of society a little longer to embrace it. Stories of people being kicked out of school or turned down from a job because they have natural hair are still making headlines across the country. It is clear more discussion is needed. Sophie Rumsby, Salford Now.
There's been a call for more trams in Salford and the rest of Greater Manchester to run through the night.
I went out to find out what this will mean for those living and working here. Who would have thought that curfews were to become a thing of adulthood when you find yourself running after your shift from work and downing your drink on a Saturday night to catch the last tram at midnight? Liberal Democrat councillors have submitted a motion including a trial to Salford City Council to run the night tram for 3 months on the Ecclesvere Media City to Ashton line from 6 a.m. through to 2 a.m. Thursday to Saturday in the hope of a weekly night service.
I think it's important that workers who are working through the nighttime economy have an option to get home that isn't a taxi or a walk home in the dark or a non-existent bus service. We've had a reduction in our bus services. If they had a later service, they would have better reputation at work because they could work all the hours that work provided for them. They wouldn't have to pay for the taxi journeys, and yeah, they didn't have that, didn't have that risk of getting home at night. So, peace of mind, more money. This is going to be good for Manchester's economy. Let's try it. We haven't tried it before. So it's all about providing an opportunity for expanding a service.
Other major cities across Europe have a late night running service on the trams, including Krakow, Berlin and Madrid. With longer hours but potentially more money, what do tram drivers think of the proposed plans?
I reckon it's called for it, yeah. If they will have checked it out, if TFGM think if they think there's people going to get on them, they will have looked into it. You know what I mean? I think it's better for people to be able to get home and use a tram. It's a safe way to travel, isn't it? Yeah, generally anyway. Yeah.
So, the time is 6 minutes past 12 and the last tram is just about to depart Media City. The next tram to depart from here will be in the next 6 hours. And as a result of this, some people find themselves rolling in late for work.
Well, I would have benefited from it tonight because I got to Cornbrook tram station hoping for a transfer to Media City and realised that there wasn't one until tomorrow morning at just after 6. So yeah, I would have been happy about that.
Because obviously your shift started here at 12, so obviously the tram's not running. It's effectively made you late, hasn't it?
Yeah.
With Labour councillor Mike McCusker refusing to say if his party will support the plans in a cross-party meeting in November, time will only tell if Salford and Greater Manchester will finally see trams running past 12 AM once more. Adam Gooseman, Salford Now. As temperatures drop and the cost of living rises, many people in Salford this winter may struggle to even buy a coat.
Groups and charities are doing their bit to keep those in the community warm. I paid a visit to a group of volunteers to see how they are helping. This will be the sound of comfort for many as they set foot through the door of this community hub in Salford. Step into action, provide food, home supplies and clothing for those who are in need in the city. Their latest appeal is selling coats for just £1 and giving away free hats, scarves, gloves and tights.
That's big.
This is Vicky. She's a single mum of 5 with dyslexia and has been getting help from the charity since it opened. Vicky's here on her birthday to buy new clothes because she's lost weight after choosing to feed her children before herself.
I am very worried about my gas and electric because I'm monitoring. It's like, I am on benefits. I have certain illnesses myself. I want to go out and work, but sometimes I physically can't. Gas and electric. Eating.
Cook it. You cook with it and that's it.
Yeah, I've lost 7 stone. I'd rather put the heating on and the electric on because to feed my kids, so they get it all. And if, like I said, if it weren't for these, with the help that they've been giving me, I wouldn't know what to do. I would be struggling, really.
A typical annual energy bill has increased from £1,971 to £2,500, leaving 10% of the North West struggling financially, according to the Financial Conduct Authority. And with temperatures getting colder, this is only going to get worse.
Our biggest concern is the families that are being affected even now with the electricity prices. People are just running out of electricity every single day, and there is no extra money for them to put on. They've literally, they've budgeted for all these years and there's no extra money left anyway. So now with this price hike, they're literally in the evenings are choosing to turn off electric and they're sitting in the dark once the kids are in bed. That's what the choices that parents are having to make to keep their electricity costs down at the moment.
It's worrying that we haven't yet seen the full impact of the latest price increase, and it proposes the question whether this is going to be a bleak and cold winter for the most vulnerable. Jessica Mason, Salford Now.
These days it feels like the price of everything is increasing daily, but a recent study from the official Office of National Statistics revealed by how food has increased. Faith Tudor went to see the effects of this increase.
There's no doubt that these staple items are essential for a weekly shop, especially this one. But now, more than ever, they're getting pricier, as a recent study found that everyday food items are on the up.
The ONS has revealed that in the last year, household items have increased in price, with oil being the most expensive, having risen 65.2%.
With vegetable oil seeing the biggest increase in price, There's one place that is really feeling the pinch: the humble fish and chip shop.
The veg oil that we use is probably tripled from what we were paying even through COVID.
But price increases are being felt far and wide, even in wholesalers like this one.
With the current economic climate, price of things have gone up. The oil, for example, it's gone up by 30 to 40%, partly because of the war in Ukraine. Most of the oil that comes from Ukraine, most of the oil, sunflower oils, comes from Ukraine, and when the war started, and that went up.
And it isn't just retail that is struggling, so are the customers.
I'm gluten-free, so I find it very expensive, me. It's very, very dear stuff to buy. It's costing me nearly £100 a week for myself, and that's for that, my husband's food and everything else.
As of this morning, this giant problem is now on Rishi Sunak's plate. Faith Tudor, Salford Now.
That's all for us today.
Goodbye.
Bye.